Hello, I'm Brother Jason. I'm the pastor of the Remnant of Jesus Christ in Gaffney, South Carolina. A lot of things going on right now. A lot of talking about rioting, a lot of people angry at each other over politics and different things, and sometimes it just smokes my mind. It's people that are supposed to be children of God. Some of the things they have to say and some of the issues and some of the anger that they have is just amazing. I mean, it's really Paul told Timothy, he said, no man that warreth, speaking to the spiritual warfare, he's not talking about taking up weapons or anything like that. He said, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. Now, I try to take that to heart. I try to live that. I try to keep my nose out of that. Jesus told him over there in the book of Mark, the 16th chapter, I think it's about the 15th verse, he said, go ye into all the world and fix it. No, that's not what he said. He said, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel. This is all just temporal. Everything we see out here, this is just passing away. It doesn't really matter. It's the souls of these people, whether they be in North Korea or the United States. It doesn't matter where those souls are. It doesn't matter what circumstances you find yourself in. The souls are what matters. It doesn't matter who's in office, because you know what? They're going to die. Sooner or later, they're going to die. Or they're going to get elected out of office, or whatever. We see it seems like every 8 years we have a Democrat, and 8 years later we'll have a Republican. George H.W. Bush was the last president that was a one-term president, but it's just insanity to think the children of God are getting mixed up into things like this. We do have obligations. They came to Jesus one time, and they were trying to trip him up, and they said, well, what do you think about taxes? Jesus says, well, show me a coin. So they brought him a coin, they handed it to him, and he said, whose inscription is this? And they said, Caesar's. And he says, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and the things to God, the things that are God's. So we're supposed to be good citizens. We're supposed to, as Paul said, obey magistrates. We're supposed to pay our taxes. But that's as far as it goes. We're not supposed to have our nose in politics. People have taken politics and they've made it a religion, is what they have done. That is not what we are supposed to be in this world. We are supposed to be in this world showing the gospel to people. We're supposed to be loving one another. So what do we have? Well, you voted for so-and-so. You didn't vote for the candidate I like. I don't like you anymore, so I'm going to ruin you on Facebook or whatever. And Jesus said to love your neighbor. He said to love your enemy. Not just your neighbor. He said to love your enemy. Love those that despitefully use you. Pray for them. But we have people that they've just gone nuts. This whole world is going nuts. We're 2 days before the inauguration now in Washington, D.C., and they're talking about releasing chemicals and everything else to disrupt the inauguration, the swearing-in ceremony and everything. But that is not what God has called us to be, and I hope there's nobody calling themselves a child of God that's involved in this. But over here in the book of Colossians, the 3rd chapter, Paul says, for ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. Right now is not our time. Our time right now is to be spreading the gospel. Now, I think back to, I think it's 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, Paul did tell Timothy, he said to pray for all men, prayers and supplication for kings and for those that are in authority. Pray for them, that you might live a quiet, peaceable life. And that's what I want to do. I do. I pray for our president and our president-elect. I pray for them every morning because that's what I am required to do. I pay my taxes, but I'm not getting wrapped up in the affairs of this life. And I hope you're not going to damage yourself, damage your reputation, and damage your conscience by doing something stupid that's just going to be undone in 4 or 8 more years. Think about the Word of God. You want to be a revolutionary. I think about Paul. He came into Corinth there and he said, I'm determined to know nothing among you but Jesus Christ and him crucified. But we find out in the book of Acts, I think it's about the 17th chapter, they were all scared when he came into town. They said, those which have turned the world upside down have come even unto us. All he was doing was preaching love. He was preaching the resurrection. He was preaching salvation. So if you want to be a revolutionary, if you want to bring a revolution to this world, love your enemies. Love your neighbors. Do good to everybody, not just those that you like, but do good to everybody. Because that's what we're commanded to do. Not this foolishness we see now. Anyways, that's my 2 cents, and that's what the Word of God has to say on the matter. But please just cut the rioting out. Please cut the arguing out. It's not worth losing friends over politics. It's just going to change anyways. God bless.